Otis became the brawler of the ring, and the depths of the sea became a place for fighting. Now the ring has become even bigger and it couldn't please the audience. And there are even more brawlers. But because of some circumstances, some brawlers weren't happy. It never happens that everyone is happy, because everyone has their own problems and worries. And so our Fang had one concern, and this concern was Edgar, or rather the doctor, whom he once very cruelly lost. It couldn't give rest to the fighter, because he considered himself the strongest in the ring. But Dr. Edgar just destroyed his ego, brought him down from heaven, and Fang was disgraced in front of the whole ring. After all, Janet was able to defeat Edgar, and he was not. So Fang's days passed. He went to battle every day and did everything to become stronger and forget past grievances. And at some point he almost forgot all this, as one day the Council of Brawlers, by the way, which now consists of other brawlers, he didn't change for a long time because of any problems. But now this is a new composition that decided to hold a tournament in the ring. The council wanted to find out who is the strongest guy from the brawlers. The winner will receive the title of the strongest male brawler in the ring and a cash reward of $50,000. After learning about such a tournament, Fang of course ran to enroll in it. Janet's notes were printed. Fang came there and signed up as a participant. He asked if Edgar was registered as a participant. Janet looked and said that there was no name for him. This really angered Fang. He needed him to sign up. The fighter said that he would come here again and that ours is gone. Colette told Edgar about the contest and said that the guy must participate in it. $50,000 is a huge amount. He has to win. Edgar didn't really want to participate in this tournament. He wasn't chasing anything, but Colette insisted on his participation, although it didn't really help. A day later, Fang came back to Janet and asked if Edgar has signed up. She said no, he probably wasn't going to participate. This really upset Fang, because he came to the gift shop and told Edgar to sign up for the tournament. He replied that it was not for Fang to decide what he should do, and then Fang attacked Edgar, but Colette stood in front of them and told them to stay together. After this, Edgar was obliged to sign up, because otherwise he would look like a coward. Edgar told him that they would decide everything on the battlefield, after which Fang left. There was one day left before the start of the tournament. Brock, Carl, Colt, El Primo, Frank, Leon, Edgar, and of course Fang had already signed up there. The rest didn't want to take part and will be spectators of the tournament. 8 fighters, and randomly each will choose an opponent. Fang rested the day before the tournament. He relaxed his muscles to show everyone what he was capable of tomorrow. Edgar and Colette were also at home. Colette supported her boyfriend and believed in his victory. She also believed that on the first day of the tournament, Edgar will not get caught against Fang. The next day, many brawlers gathered in the desert, because this is where the first battle for the strongest fighter of the ring will take place. All the participants stood in fear, because no one knew who and against whom they will fight. Crow was appointed the main one. He already knew who and against whom he would fight. One name. Brock. The first fighter, Brock, appeared on the huge screen. He stood in the middle to start the fight. And the second name was Carl. Oh my god, this is going to be a fight. Edgar and Fang exhaled. Not them. They stood in the middle of the field and the crow began to count. 1, 2, 3. Brock immediately fired the first rocket, from which Carl safely dodged. Brock fired another rocket. Carl threw his pickaxe. He dodged and attacked the rocket again and hit Carl. My god, his arm broke. but he was not going to give up. Brock fired a mountain of rockets. Carl ran away as best he could and managed to hide. All the brawlers were at a loss, whether Carl had time or not. Brock didn't see him. He was firing rockets wherever he looked in the hope of finding him. But while he was doing it, Carl was quietly following the sounds. Brock's rockets ran out. He needed to recharge as a pickaxe flew into him from behind and threw him to the ground. The rocket launcher fell in the distance. Carl threw the pickaxe once again. Brock somehow dodged and ran after the rocket. Carl began to spin at lightning speed, attacking Brock, who took the rocket launcher, but it was empty, and Carl struck a crushing blow. Brock lost consciousness. Carl won the fight with one hand. He surprised the whole arena. No one expected him to win. Crow congratulated him on his victory. That's enough for Carl for today. After fixing his hand, he is back in line. Crow told everyone to look at the screen. There will be 2 fights now. And the first name there was Fang. Oh my god, Fang started to get very worried. It is really a fight with Edgar? And the second name was Frank. They both came to the place. Fang was worried. Before the start of the battle, he closed his eyes and prayed to the Lord, asked him for help to win. Crow began to count. 1, 2, 3. Fang immediately ran at Frank. What is he doing? Frank hit with his hammer and the wave threw Fang away. It hurt him, but he wanted to get up when Frank jumped on him and started hitting him with a hammer for all his strength. What is he doing? Stop the fight! Crew immediately stopped the fight, but it was too late. Fang was covered in blood. Crow said that Frank would be disqualified for this. He almost killed the fighter. All the brawlers were terrified. We urgently need to help him. Pam came and set up her healing turret to prevent Fang from dying. He underestimated Frank and was almost killed. Besides Pam, Poco also came and tried to do everything so that Fang wouldn't die. Edgar was very scared. He didn't want this. We need to take him to the hospital. Fang was brought to the hospital. His condition was critical. Frank would have hit him again and everything ended very badly. And now it remains to wait for Fang to come out of the coma. 7 days and 7 nights have passed. Frank still don't understand how big a mistake he made. It was normal for him what happened. They already wanted to exclude him from the ring altogether. But fortunately, a week later, Fang opened his eyes and remembered absolutely everything. He was ready to cry because he was disgraced in front of the whole arena. Edgar now definitely doesn't see him as a rival. Fang felt uncomfortable with the situation in the hospital. He wanted to leave, but so far he couldn't really move. During the time Fang was in the hospital, a Colt and Leon fight took place at the tournament in which, fortunately for someone and unfortunately for anyone, the Colt won. Leon was not angry in any way because he didn't have a goal to win. He realized long ago that to become great, you need to be able to lose, and he learned it. Leon visited Fang and he learned from him about his loss. Fang was eager to return to the tournament. Leon told him that they wanted to disqualify Frank. That is, the fight would be won by Fang, but the guy didn't want to. It's a shame for him because he lost this fight. He wanted a rematch and he didn't want to be disqualified for anything. A couple more days passed and Fang could already move normally. He didn't want to lie in this hospital anymore, so he got up and decided to go to Byron. He is one of the best healers in the ring, if not the best one. He will be able to help him fully recover. When he came to the old man, he asked him for help. In this state, he would not be able to fight in the tournament. Byron said that he had one very powerful potion, but it might have side effects. Fang said that he didn't care. and took this potion in a few seconds, drank everything. After which he felt his strength returning. He was delighted, but along with the forces, the color of his hair became different. They became lighter. Why did this happen? Byron said that these are the side effects he was talking about. The old man said that they even suit him, and he can leave them. Fang decided not to bother. The main thing for him is to win Frank, and everyone who gets him at the tournament. Byron laughed. Now he is not able to win even Frank. How is he going to beat Edgar himself? But after all, Fang thought that now he has become stronger. But no, in fact, he is at the same level as before. The fighter didn't know what to do. He asked Byron for help, and the old man told him only one phrase: "Go to the waters. They will tell you everything." Fang didn't understand anything, but still decided to go according to Byron and came to bouts, where there were a lot of waters. He didn't know what to do here, but at the moment he heard the waters calling him. The guy jumped there without hesitation, and he found himself in the familiar depths of the sea. He was here for the first time. The fighter heard that there will be fights here, but he was not here personally. He was very inspired by the atmosphere. Fang sat down in front of the octopus, closed his eyes, and began to meditate. He was in search of new strength. So Fang started training in the depths of the sea. He spent 24 hours training, and the rest lasted no more than 10 minutes. During the time spent in these places, Fang had new plans to heal his appearance. But for now he continued to train, because in 2 days the tournament will begin. He should be fully ready. Byron was sitting at home and thinking about Fang. He didn't just tell him about the waters. The old man was sure that Fang was training there now, because this guy never liked to lose. Byron had a gift for him. He prepared a box. It contained something that will greatly help Fang in battles. You are probably all wondering what's inside? There are sneakers there. But very unusual. Byron came to the water park. Buzz was sitting in his seat and didn't pay attention to him. The old man threw this box into the water. If Fang is there, then he will see the gift and understand everything. Another 24 hours have passed from the life of each brawler. Finally, the day of the tournament has come, and exciting battles are waiting for us today. Edgar, El Primo, Colt, Frank, and Carl. By the way, Frank was not disqualified at Fang's request, which gave Leon, especially since the fighter is alive and well. This time, much less people came to watch the fights than before, because many were shocked by the previous outcome, and most of the players watched TV at home as well as arena fans. Fang was not in the ranks. "Where is he?" asked Crow fighters, but no one knew anything. After leaving the hospital, he was not seen. Frank was ready to fight him again and prove that he won the first fight fairly. Crow called Frank to the middle of the field. If Fang does not show up within 5 minutes, Frank will automatically become the winner of the fight. 4 minutes passed, and Fang was still not there. Crow and others were tired of waiting. The fighter prepared and said that Frank would win. What's going on? Fang? My God, I don't recognize him. Everyone was shocked, to say the least. There was nothing left of the beaten Fang. His completely new look is something marvelous. Frank is no longer very confident in his victory, and in Fang's eyes there was nothing but confidence. Edgar was taken aback. Is it Fang? He has changed a lot in a short time. Well, finally Crow said, "It's time to find out which of these two is stronger." Frank didn't know what to expect from Fang. And then the fight started. Fang made a dash. Frank knocked him against the wall with his hammer. After that, Frank gained confidence. It's the same Fang. He jumped to him to finish the fight. And then Fang jumped on the wall and started running along the wall. What? All the fighters were surprised. All thanks to Byron's gift. Frank wanted to win in faster. The guy stopped. He was literally standing on the wall. Byron looked proudly at Fang from above. The guy looked at him with a smile. Frank was not nervous. He wanted to catch the fighter by surprise. Fang expected that he would jump on him again, because otherwise he would not be able to inflict damage. As soon as Frank threw his hammer straight at the guy, he didn't expect it, but this time it's impossible. You can't lose. Come on, Fang! The fighter broke the hammer to hell with one foot. What kind of strength does he have? Who is he? Edgar didn't show it, but he was pleasantly surprised. And Frank was left without a weapon. Fang offered him to surrender, but he was not going to do it. And here... Fang just destroyed Frank. Absolutely everyone except Edgar began to be afraid of Fang. He's insanely strong. Crow said without hesitation that Fang had won. Everyone who came to watch the fights was surprised. The fighter looked at Byron and let him know that he was thanking him. The next fight was Carl against Edgar. Really, Edgar will finally show what he's capable of. They stood in the middle to start the fight. This time Carl will have nowhere to hide. Edgar stood pathetically and waited for action from Carl. He threw a pickaxe.
Get away from me!
What is Edgar doing? Carl immediately gave up. He was cornered. It was the fastest victory in the tournament. Edgar looked at Fang and made it clear that the same thing would happen to him. Colette was standing at the top and was proud of her boyfriend. There are 4 fighters and 2 fights left. Crow already knew who and with whom he would be in the next fight. He already wanted to say how Max stopped the tournament from above, saying that it was enough for today. Everyone needed to rest. Fang was disappointed. He thought that he would end everything today. But Meg ruined everything. He was not going to wait. The fighter had other plans. After Meg's words, all the brawlers left there. Only Fang was there. He was very angry and upset. The fighter had trained so much not to wait any longer. He was comforted by only one plan in his head, but so far he didn't want to resort to it. Tomorrow we have to announce when the final of the tournament will take place. Fang decided to wait. Edgar and Colette, in honor of the guy's victory, came to the restaurant to celebrate this event. Colette was very happy, and Edgar saw no point in celebrating something now. He still has to fight. Colette replied that she was sure of this victory and it was already necessary to decide where they would spend $50,000. More precisely, 25, because Colette has already spent half of the money in her head. Therefore, Edgar has no choice. He must win this tournament. While the couple was celebrating the victory, Fang was lying at home in a bad mood. Yes, he surprised everyone with a victory with Frank. But he needs Edgar. The fighter is not interested in this money at all. He needs to win, because honor and dignity are above money. Therefore, he was looking forward to the next day with impatience. The morning of the next day has come. Fang was already running headlong to the Council of Brawlers to find out when the final would be. Arriving there and asking the long-awaited question, he was told that the tour would take place soon. Fang was immediately delighted, so either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, To which Grom replied that the tournament will take place next week. What? Why? The guy asked in a rude voice. Grom replied that it was impossible to hold the final so quickly. You need to warm up the audience and gather even more people in front of the TV screens. Just in the time before next week, there will be more winners. They also need to recoup this $50,000 in prize money. There can't be any others. Everything became clear to Fang. He didn't answer anything, because in his head, the guy already knew what he would do. Oh my god. What are you up to, Fang? A lonely Colette worked in a souvenir shop. Edgar is sleepy. He never gets up so early in the morning, and the girl had to work alone. Well, thank God there was no visit yet, and she could take a nap, when suddenly footsteps were heard. The first visitor! Colette straightened up and was about to serve a customer with a smile. When she was witness, she was alarmed. Why did he come? It was Fang. Colette said that Edgar is not there, and in general he has nothing to do here. They will decide everything during the tournament. The guy was so calm. There was a silence. Colette was worried and asked Fang to leave the store immediately. What are you doing, Fang? Why did you stun her? So that was your plan. At this time, Edgar was sleeping sweetly at home. Even the fact that he sleeps in clothes doesn't help him get up early. The fighter still sleeps like a dead man. It took 30 minutes and Edgar finally opened his eyes. He needed to get up, but he was so lazy. He just wanted to lie and look at the ceiling, but he had to go to work to call it. He got up from his seat, stretched himself well, and wanted to have a cup of coffee. But Colette is probably sad alone at work right now, so he immediately headed to the store. When Edgar arrived at the place, he didn't see the girl. He said her name, but no one responded. The guy immediately got worried, because Colette never left the store empty and didn't leave. Something happened. But what? He went to the cash. It seemed nothing suspicious, but then he caught sight of the letter. Taking it in his hands, he began to read, and with each line his expression changed. Edgar flew into rage. This freak Fang! How could he allow this? The fighter will kill him! Fang brought Colette to his home. Yes, of course he acted very cruelly, but Brawler wasn't going to use the girl anymore. She would stay here, and after all Fang would let her go. The guy left the house and went to the place he left in the letter. He waited for this for a very long time. When Byron stopped him on the way and asked where he was going so serious, Fang replied that he was training. He needed to prepare for the final. The old man praised him and said that he really wanted to see how he was training. Fang was not at a loss and replied that he liked to train alone. Fang left, but Byron suspected something was wrong. The guy was already very tense. Arriving at the place, Edgar was not there yet. Where is he? Fang sat down on the floor and began to meditate so that all the tension would go away. And then Edgar appeared in a numb state. God, I've never seen him so angry. He told Fang to tell him where Colette was right now, or he would kill him right there. Fang replied that he could forget the stab because the guy wouldn't get out of here. Edgar couldn't stand it. He attacked Fang. The crazy fight lasted for more than 2 hours. Neither of them had the strength. They both fell to the ground and could not even move a finger. Each fought for their values and for their truth, and each one stood up to the end. After this crazy fight, Fang realized one very important thing. This is that pride and the desire to be the first is absolutely not what should be in a person's heart. Because the one who exalts himself will be humiliated, and the one who is humiliated will be exalted. Now Fang understood why he lost the first battle. He considered himself superior to everyone and was humiliated. Pride is one of the most terrible sins. But he's not like that anymore. The guy apologized to Edgar for everything and said that from today they are brothers. Edgar forgave him. It wasn't quiet there, but he also added that he hoped someone would find them. And so it happened. After an hour of searching, Byron found Fang and saw 2 beaten fighters. A week has passed since Fang and Edgar's fight. The final of the tournament didn't take place because of what happened. The participants refused to fight, but the money was still divided among all those who got to the final, and so everyone got $12,500. Colette had already bought everything with this money, well, in her thoughts, and now she doesn't have enough for everything. Edgar said that it was unnecessary to hurry, as Fang came here. Edgar happily came up to him and shook his hand. The guy asked what Colette was sad about. She said what was the matter, and Fang replied that he would give her all the money that was given to him. Colette jumped for joy. How did Fang change in such a short time? Thank God! May all sins stay away from you. Don't give in to them as Fang did. Live happily, be healthy, and let there be peace everywhere. Amen.